Good evening and welcome once again to another episode of Capsules of Love. Remember what God says. Yes, a resounding yes, I love you with an everlasting love. That's from Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 3. So last week we spoke on Capsules of Love. We did part 1 of self-condemnation, and this week we're going to do part 2 and try and tie that part up, and then we will look at something slightly different next week, still speaking about self-love, self-care. So last week we looked at 4 points about self-condemnation, and we saw the negative reinforcement or the negative things that comes from self-condemnation. I want to look at this week. I want to also look at self-condemnation, but I want to look at it from a different perspective. Let us look at self-condemnation from maybe 2 or 3 different points. Number 1, lack of self-respect. Each time you call yourself something that you're not, this is you being disrespectful to yourself. Like the N-word, for example. It is not something that you and I should use to speak about ourselves. That's lack of self-respect. How about when you wear your pants so baggy that they hang all the way down past your butt cheeks, and you have a belt that is tied around your waist, but it's not sitting on your waist, it is sitting below your butt cheek. That's not where the belt belongs. What about women with the skimpy skirt? Or the shorts so short that now they have a slang that says, oh, I see you got the cheeks out today. That's not one way of respecting oneself. I personally think that that is one way of you condemning yourself. Another way I believe that you can condemn yourself is also the words or your language. For those of us that speak English, and English is our main language, for the life of me, I can't understand why we choose to use slang. Yo, what's up, ma? When we could speak properly and more clearly. One of the reasons why I think a lot of times when we maybe go for a job, because we have practiced ourselves so much to use the dialect that we use, when we go to a job interview, we speak the same way, and because of that, we don't get the job. What about words that we use? Words that we use to describe someone else, or even speak about our own family, children, family members, or even friends. For example, the word they use for a female dog. We use that to refer to a young lady. What about that garden tool that we use outside to rake up the dirt with the letter H? What about the other word? What's up, ma? N? How about foul language? All these things, if we look at them, it is a way of condemning ourselves because we don't think highly of ourselves. And because we don't think highly of ourselves, we now pass that on to others. We pass it on to others in the form of the same way we speak about ourselves, we speak about them the same way. The same way words we use to describe ourselves, we use those same words to describe even our children. I've heard parents use the N-word towards their children. I've heard parents refer to their girl daughter by the name that they used to call a female dog. I've heard their own children use these same words toward themselves. Folks, if this is not self-condemnation, I really don't know what it is. But the thing that really get to me, and I don't know if it get to you as well, is that we condemn ourselves by the lack of respect that we have for ourselves, the way how we carry ourselves, the way how we speak about ourselves, the language that we use toward ourselves and toward others. But at the same time, we're asking others to respect us. Man, you ain't giving me my props. Man, you ain't giving me my dues, man. You're disrespecting me. Well, what do you mean I am disrespecting you when you disrespect yourself? When you disrespect yourself, how then can you and I turn around and command or demand respect from others? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, respect is something that is earned. Respect is not something that is given. So I want us to just think about this as I wrap up this point on self-condemnation. Self-condemnation is a negative way of looking at things. It causes one to also be pessimistic about how one sees life, the outlook on life, something we spoke about last week. We must get to the place wherein we must change the way we think. Let me leave you with a Bible scripture. In Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, it says, "Be not conformed to this world, the way how the world thinks, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Our mind needs to be renewed, not only when we become children of God, or not only when we become Christians, but we need to renew our minds from when we were a teenager to when we are now a young adult. We need to make our mind keep going through the evolution that our bodies go through. The way how I think and behave when I was in my teens or in my 20s, I no longer behave the same way when I'm in my 30s and 40s, and God forbid in my 50s. I have seen people that's in their 50s, 60s, 70s still behave as if they're teenagers. Men in particular. I've seen it. Also see it with women. Self-condemnation. It's something we also pass on from one generation to the next. So it's something that I will encourage you to do. Think about how you see yourself. Think about how you perceive yourself. How do you want others to perceive you? And the way that you can offset that is to, like I said last week, think happy thoughts. Think highly of yourself. Not from an egotistical point of view, but think enough of yourself to say, I am not going to be disrespectful to myself. And because I am not going to be disrespectful to myself, because I'm not going to condemn myself, then I will not tolerate condemnation from no one else. I will not tolerate disrespect from someone. But you cannot demand something that you yourself is not given. I hope this message has been something that is helpful for you. I do hope that you will not only like it, but you will also share it. Remember, like we started, God says yes, a resounding yes, I love you with an everlasting love. And finally, know that all that we know is because of the love of God. He has taught us everything we know. We think we learn them of ourselves, but no, it is God who teaches us the things that we know. Hence, we have this program, Capsules of Love, to reshape how we think and perceive ourselves. And like a capsule that you take only one pill at a time, Capsule of Love, we do one episode, one dose at a time. May you enjoy the rest of your evening. Until next week, I'm your host once again, Richard Lawrence Sr. Until we meet again, have a good evening and God bless.